It's not a really good time to be talking business with them. So let me let the dust settle in their office a few days this week, and then maybe, if nothing else, we will send them a check and say this is our outreach for the month and help them um, do what they do. Because I mean, homeless people got to eat, not just on Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving does seem like a good focal point to do something. And Philip's been doing that for a long time, and I'd be fine with doing it with Hosea Williams or any of the people in town that have done that for a long time. Balance is very important. Like, I believe in prosperity. I believe in having a prosperous life, but I also know that not everybody's where I am on that. So when a person comes up and says, do you have a dollar or whatever, a lot of times I say no, because when you live in the city and walk as much as we do, that video where the girl's walking through New York and all the guys are hitting on her? I could do a video like that, only it would be 3 times as much of guys asking me for change. So because we walk a lot, it's like, no, buddy, not tonight, not tonight. No. But then there'll be somebody that I think, you know what, I'm going to do something for him. Or if somebody's hungry, especially if it's a woman, it's unusual to see a woman on the streets. And so I usually will do a little extra for that if they have kids. Absolutely. But that doesn't mean I compromise on the fact that I believe in prosperity. And those things are compartmentalized in my mind. Like, even I wrote about this last week. I walked out of here just tingling with the energy from that message about health. And then, a few hours later, Daisha passed away. And it's like, you're trying to, how do I compartmentalize all this? Because my heart's going out to someone who has lost a battle, but it makes me feel even more committed to teaching on health. And so, I keep those things separate in my mind. Just because that happened with one person does not mean that the teaching on health isn't even more important. So you don't want to be insensitive. Like, I wouldn't have stood up at the funeral yesterday and said something about it, and that there's a reason why Paul said, rejoice with those that rejoice and weep with those that weep. But I will say this about going to the funeral at the Assembly of God Tabernacle yesterday, because in the last 4 years, I've been to several funerals there. And, when you go there, you see a lot of people from your previous world. And yesterday was like a really good experience. I was amazed. I think it's because I've changed on the inside and people are taking their cues from me, but everybody was just overtly friendly. Even people that I was surprised were. And I don't know, it was just, that was encouraging to me, because there was a time driving up to an Assembly of God church, the neuropaths in my brain were just taking me to a lot of dark places. And yesterday it was all about, I'm trying to be here for Philip and let's celebrate this woman's life. And, I hate that she left the way that she did, but she did live this awesome life. So we'll grieve her later, but right now let's go honor her and what she did. And it was not a bad experience at all. I mean, it used to, I'd have to just nearly come out of those things like, I got to get the funk off of me, but it wasn't like that at all. Now, I don't feel connected to it anymore. Like, when I'm in traditional church now, I think I'm not this. I'm not, and no, I don't, namaste. God bless y'all, but I'm not. My head's in a very different place now, and I'm glad that I can go there, and it is what it is, and I enjoy it for what it is. But I'm involved with people that are very next level. So. Anyway, so I'm thinking about what I want to do for Christmas. I kind of want to do everything for Christmas, but I want, it's like, let's go to the Messiah and the Nutcracker and Collinwald and, but how much is it going to cost, Bishop? Only $5,000 to do all, buy one ticket. We'll go to the lighting of the tree. Cause I go to everything and I love everything. So who knows? Who knows, but it will be fun. And our last event was just a hoot and a half. We just had such a great time. So anyway, all right. I know you were ready. So we've already said that we're in agreement. I speak in this atmosphere and I say, let there be light. This is our second installment about optimal health through infinite love and gratitude. you don't have to turn to Luke chapter 17, but if I was going to refer to a story from the Gospels that really sort of makes my point, it would be the story of the 10 lepers. I went back and read it last night, and I had forgotten that the lepers were Samaritans. So they weren't just, well, you think about, Eddie talked about HIV. There was a time 30 years ago, if he had said that, people would have gotten up and walked out of the room. Now we're much more sophisticated, and we know you're not going to catch it. It's not airborne. I want people to understand that about Ebola. You're not going to, more people have married Kardashians than have Ebola. And the reason, I even talked to, he's out of he's out of town this week, but I was talking to Wellington because he's from Liberia, and he said even there it's gotten much better. The people in West Africa, most of them that have Ebola are dying from poor conditions. It's not the disease that's killing them. They're dying from dysentery, and most of just basic hygiene and sterilization would take care of that. So for all the people that are freaked out over that, it's so unlikely that, I mean, you'd have to be working in a clinic with Ebola victims, and even then I'm not sure you would contract it. And even if you did contract it, it's not necessarily fatal, so get a grip. I mean, more people die of the flu every year than anything else, and so that doesn't keep you indoors, and you can't live in fear. What was the point? What was I telling you that? Oh, about leprosy. Now, leprosy not only was airborne, it actually, and I don't understand how this works, but leprosy would actually get in physical, in material. Like, it would get in the house. It would get in the walls, kind of like mold and mildew does. And once it did, you'd have to burn the house down. So lepers lived in what they call leper colonies, and it was a legality that if you saw someone approaching you, you had to call out unclean. So can you imagine, not only you're having to continually keep yourself marginalized, because you're required by law to say I'm unclean. And what's interesting about this story, the story about how these Samaritans, who were already disconnected from Jesus just because of their culture and their ethnicity. Well, here they're lepers. So they call out to him, have mercy on us. And he says, go show yourself to the priest, you're healed. So it says, it's not very specific there, but it says they were healed as they went. So there was some, I don't know how long it took them to went or to go, but there was a progression of healing until they realized that they were cured of it. But only one of them came back. Remember, Jesus said, well, there were 10 of you. Why is there only one of you? And the man, came and fell before him and profusely thanked him. And you don't see this in all of the translations, but there seems to be a difference with this one man, because he said, Jesus says to him, were there not 10 of you who were healed, but only one of you came back? And he says, your faith has made you whole, W-H-O-L-E. Wholeness is a whole other dimension from health. I don't want to read more into the word than is actually there, but to me, wholeness is soundness. It's mental health. If you're physically well and depressed all the time, you're not whole. If you feel good but you're miserable, if you're unhappy, if you hate the life you're in, if you hate every day of your life, that's not wholeness. And as much as I want to be healthy, if there's a difference, I actually prefer wholeness to health. Health is awesome, and I'll take health over sickness any day, but wholeness is better. So the implication there is Jesus says your gratitude has taken you to another level. I believe, and I'm not speaking from medical authority here, but I think a lot of the people who go into remission actually are healed, but I don't think they know how to keep their healing. And back in the faith message, Kenneth Hagin used to teach on that a lot, about not just get healed, but keep your healing. Learn how to stand on the word to keep your health. And there is something to that. It's discouraging when you think you've been given a clean bill of health and you're so happy, and then you see a symptom come back. It's very discouraging. It's like, oh man, I thought I was done with this. And you have to learn how to resist that and say, no, I'm not gonna freak out on this. And this doesn't mean that it's coming back. It just means that I'm dealing with it and I know what to do. I know how to handle this. But that's why I think it's important to every day, not just wait till you feel some symptoms in your body, but you need to think health and talk health and move toward it. Even when you're feeling good, don't wait till the doctor gives you 6 months to live. You're suddenly going to get, I need to get healthy. No, you need to be moving toward that every day. It's amazing when you think about, and I don't want to freak you out on this, but you think about the disease germs that are probably floating around this room, that, they're everywhere. It's amazing that we stay as healthy as we do. Night before last, Ken was driving from Eatonton to Atlanta, and a truck just spun out of control and comes head on. And he was fine, but his car looks pretty messed up, and cars can be fixed. But of course I was thanking God that he was okay. But I thought, it's amazing that we drive on the expressway and come out unscathed as much as we do. Have you ever thought about it? Like, wow, I'm going really, really fast, and these other automobiles are coming really fast at me, and we're just passing each other. Really, every time you get home in one piece, you have done the impossible nearly. But I'm saying that to say, every day you ought to think, oh, I'm so happy to be healthy. I'm so happy to be feeling good. I'm so happy, and look, if people think you're bragging about it, that's their problem. Last week when I told you that my trainer, who is 21 years my junior, thought that I was 13 years younger than I am. All this time that we've been working out, he thought I was 13 years younger than I am. I had to show him my driver's license because he didn't believe me. You think I'm not going to talk about that? Excuse me. I'm having that printed up on t-shirts. And the more you talk about it, the other thing, pardon me, I'm going to brag about it, but last year when I lost weight, I got down to a certain number. When you're losing weight, you hit that one number, and you're like, I just cannot get below this number, this stubborn number. And one day this week, I thought, all right, I'm going to get on the scales. And I was 3 pounds below the immovable number. And psychologically, it just did something so good for my head. I was like, I can do anything. I just needed, I know this seems like a small thing, but I just needed that little something. And the more you talk about it, I'm telling you, then that have more will be more will come. I was just thinking about it, and I was like, I'm 3 pounds under my number, 3 pounds under my number. We got home, got in the elevator, two $20 bills on the elevator floor. I was like, universe trying to give me money. I went down, asked the concierge. I said, Fred, did anybody mention about dropping some cash on the elevator? He said, no. I said, well, I guess it's mine now. Just want you to know, if somebody asks about it, I'll give it up. But right now, these 220s are mine. I was like, I'm skinny and I got $40. Now, you don't want to be obnoxious about it, but there is something about praising your life, and the more you talk it up, and I don't know if you've ever heard of this concept of Thanksgiving. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but there's this thing the last Thursday of November where an entire day is set aside for that very thing. And I want you to eat turkey. I love it. I love the traditional turkey and dressing and cranberry sauce. It's one of my favorite meals. There's different restaurants that we go to that actually have that, and I order it a lot during the year because I love it. I love, not only is turkey good and good for you, but I just love this psychologically, the way it makes me feel to eat a turkey and dressing dinner. It has a lot of happy thoughts connected to it. And but eat your turkey, whatever, but wherever you end up on Thanksgiving, make sure that you take a minute and say what you're thankful for, because it's important. Now, this month we're talking about how gratitude is connected, optimal health through infinite love and gratitude. And this is off of Deepak Chopra's website. But before we get to it, let me show you this scripture. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 16, 17, and 18. And I am in the Jonathan Mitchell New Testament. It's very wordy, but they're good words. Let me show it to you. He says, it's where the King James says, rejoice evermore. Here's what the Greek says: be continuously rejoicing always, or find joy in every situation. May I say that again? Find joy in every situation. Always express constant joy. Continuously think, speak, and act with a view toward having well-being and goodness unceasingly, or by habit be praying intermittingly. That's where King James says pray without ceasing. Within the midst of everything, be continuously giving thanks, or in union with all people, be habitually expressing the goodness of grace and the well-being from favor, for this is God's intent, will, purpose unto you in Christ Jesus, proceeding or into the midst of you folks in union with the anointed Jesus. Again, it's a lot of words, but what he's saying is it's a cliche, but you look for the silver lining in everything. I hated that he had a little wreck. I was happy that he was okay. I said, you know what? Let's go out and celebrate and get something to eat, because and you know, we usually split the check. I said, no, I'm buying dinner tonight because I'm happy that I'm not sitting in an emergency room with you. So we turned, and you know, I believe that good comes out of it if you demand good to come out of it. Some of you that were part of Midtown Church remember what I went through. I didn't really talk about it in Covington, but I went through something with Jared, my oldest son, that he could have gone to prison for a felony. He could have gone for 20 years. And it was really kind of a thing like police entrapment that happened. But, you know, it was what it was. And, you know, he called me one night, and I'd already been to his arraignment, and I'm looking at him. You know, it's a trip when you see because Jared's a little guy, and you see him handcuffed between these two men that are both 6'7", and you know, he looks like a 12-year-old in there with all these, you know, guys, and your paternal instinct wants to get behind that glass and get your kid out of there, but you know, it is what it is. He's a grown man. And he called me one night. He said, Dad, I'm freaking out. He said, I cannot go to a penitentiary. He said, what am I going to do? And I said, Jared, I can't do anything for you at this point. I said, you remember some of the Bible stories I taught you when you were little, and one of them was the story of Jacob wrestling with the Lord, wrestling with the angel. And I said, you're going to have to wrestle this thing and not let it go until a blessing comes out of it. And he got a hold of it. He understood it. A few weeks later, he went back. Not only did they drop the charges, he was expunged. Like there's not even any trace of it. And it taught him a very valuable lesson. See, I mean, even if he was on probation, he couldn't do international travel. He's in London right now. And one night this week, I texted all four of my kids. There's a show that we like to watch, and I said, why don't y'all come over and we'll do some food? And Christina's like, I just got back from New York. I don't have a babysitter. Jonah texted me, I'm flying out of Denver. I've got a gig in Las Vegas. Jared texts me, I just flew in from London. I got to go to Texas tomorrow. I'm like, are y'all making this up? If y'all don't want to come over, just say I don't want to come over. I'm like, yeah, I'm having dinner with the King of Spain. You know, like y'all are just making this up. But sure enough, we picked up Jonah from the airport last night. He did a gig with Sinbad. He's got pictures of Sinbad, him and Sinbad. I said, would you tell Sinbad I've quoted him for years in my sermons? Those are my kids. Anyway, Jared couldn't do any of that. So the point is, um, you have to take a thing and turn it into a blessing and say, I'm not going to let this thing go until it blesses me. Now, Jacob did limp away from it. Remember, his thigh was out of joint. So I'm not saying that a thing won't scar you. There will be something that happens to you that's obviously, it's going to make you a little more sober, but it doesn't have to hurt you. It doesn't have to kill you. If anything, it can make you stronger. And you can walk away saying, I may have a little bit of a limp, but I'm going to turn it into like this. And people are going to say, where'd you get that cool walk? You got so much swag. And you'll be like, what can I say? And you don't need to tell them that you're limping because the angel put your thigh out of joint. You just turn it into, man, that guy's got the coolest walk of anybody I've ever seen. Mae West, the inimitable Mae, she was less than 5 feet tall. And you talk about somebody that sort of reinvented herself, because she was not a beautiful woman, but she created the illusion that she was. And so because she wanted to be eye level with her leading men, the reason she wore those long dresses is she had these built up shoes that were like this tall. So the reason she walked like that is because she's like walking on these like space shoes, but she turned it into like all these women are trying to emulate the Mae West walk. They didn't realize it was because she had those big shoes. She was trying to at least be 5'5". And but you take what you have to work with and you turn it into something cool. She turned it into a legend for herself. Now, morally, I can't say that, she was somebody you normally talk about in sermons. But you all know who I'm talking about when I said, there's no question that she became a legend. And it's just interesting to me that people who have become something different, a lot of times it was their impediments that they were learning how to deal with that actually made them special, made them unique. So what's that got to do with health and gratitude? Well, this is what I found on Chopra's website, and I thought this was interesting. Let me show you what it said here. It says, gratitude is an immensely powerful force that we can use to expand our happiness, create loving relationships, and even improve our health. Many, including research by renowned psychologists Robert Emmons and Michael McCullough, have found that people who consciously focus on gratitude experience greater emotional well-being and physical health than those who don't. In comparison with control groups, those who cultivated a grateful outlook. Before I show you this, what they did is they had 3 different control groups. One group kept a gratitude journal every day. One didn't, and one, I forgot what the third one was. It was something like I don't know if they just didn't do anything with it. One group complained, but it all absolutely affected their health. I actually thought about buying you all a journal and passing it out and say, just make a list of what you're grateful for. Because I'm telling you, there's more good stuff happening for you than you realize. Until you start writing it down, you don't notice it. You don't realize it. I'm happy that it's not raining today. It's so much easier to get here when it's not pouring down rain. I would have showed up anyway, but it's nice. It's not, I'm not saying that we're not going to have meeting when it rains, but isn't it nice to come when it's nice? We'll be grateful for that. Did anybody walk here this morning? No. So obviously you have some mode of transportation, and you must have fuel to put in it. And for right now, it may be temporary, but the gas prices are low. It's nice when I go fill up, I'm like, wow, that's like $10 less than it normally is. I do want to know all the people that were blaming the president for high gas prices last year. Why aren't they giving him some credit for it? Because the president really has nothing to do with it. But they were throwing him under the bus last year. And this year, I'm like, well, then give him some props for it being low. But I digress. But, it's nice when you go and like, yeah, $10 off. I'll put that with my 220s that I found. I got $50 and I'm skinny. And if you don't write it down, honestly, I keep a little, there's a log going on in my head all the time. Like, uh, I paid off my car not long ago. And every time I get in my car, every time I get in, I think my car's paid for. My car is paid for. I just love it. It just makes me feel like I'm grateful every time. And I have 2 new tires on it. I think about it every time. Whatever you got that's good, focus on it. All right, this is what these doctors proved. The people who were grateful felt better about their lives as a whole. They experienced greater levels of joy and happiness. That's a given. They felt optimistic about the future. They got sick less often. Now, let me say this, and this is just recently become a reality of mine, because in the past, have been a news junkie. I love the news so much that I actually have, especially when I'm by myself, I'll sleep with it on. I like knowing what's going on. I mean, when, I was raised among people who revere the news. I mean, like my grandfather back when, the Huntley Brinkley report, and when Walter Cronkite came on, like all those, like, shh, I mean, the kid, you'd get a belt taken to you if you made noise during the news. I remember my parents always watched that 11 o'clock news. And then when 24-hour news came on, some of us nearly went overboard because, we're watching it. If you ever watched the news cycle so much, you're thinking, I've already seen this story like 3 times. Why am I still seeing it? And you just get kind of addicted to it. I am not in any way saying that you should not be informed, because I believe in being informed. I went and voted last week, and I love voting. I just, whether my people get in office, not just the fact that I got to vote, I love it. It makes me feel very empowered. It makes me feel the best ideology about America. And I love it, but I tried to be as informed as I could be. There was a couple of things on there that I thought, I don't know what this, they always have amendments or something. I'm like, I'm not sure what that one's about. So I'd read it 2 or 3 times, and then I would go with my gut, and I think, well, I'm going to go with what I think is right. But I think you should know what's going on. When I get up in the morning, I'll turn over there and let me see what's happened, overnight. But I've gotten to a place where I don't think it's healthy just to watch it nonstop, because they're feeding you negative stuff. I think you should get caught up. Let me know what's going on. Let me hit the highlights. Let me hit the bullet points. But I'm not going to sit here and suck on this for the next 2 or 3 hours, because with it going 24 hours, there's no way you can't stop it. It's like, it's not a news program that goes off. It's just, and wherever you are, whether you're Fox or CNN or MSNBC, or your bent is, it's going on all the time. And I think it negatively affects health. I really do. I think, I've gotten to where now it's like, all right, let me look at it. Let me see what's going on. I don't want to be caught in a conversation today where somebody brings up something I have no idea what it is. So I want to be informed, and it might be something I want to pray about. So, but just to sit here and feel that negative energy, because they're not telling you the good stuff. If a plane crashes, you're going to hear so much about that. Think about how many planes don't crash in a day. What if they reported everyone that safely lands? There'd be an entire network just devoted to that. So way more planes land than don't. But what you hear about is the negative ones. I wouldn't tell you what to do anyway, but I'm just saying, example means anything to you. I have greatly limited how much I watch the news. And I've greatly limited how much I expose myself to negative stuff online. Like, there's some people that are on Facebook that everything they say is negative. Everything has an edge to it. And unless it's geared to me personally, I'm not going to unfriend them, but I don't read their stuff. It's like when I look at the news feed and I can tell from the first couple of sentences, they're ticked off about something again, I'm like, you know what? I don't have time for that. You work out your own drama. And I just, again, it's not that I can't handle confrontation or whatever. It's just that I feel like every bit of information that's coming into me through my five sense gates is having a direct influence on my health. And so I need to be around something that's positive. I need to be around good words. And if you're telling me something that's going on, then tell me. Like even just last week with Wellington saying things are so much better in Liberia. He said, because his family's all over there. He said, I just talked to my brother and he said things are, regardless of what they're saying on the news, things are markedly better now. And that's not news people telling you that. That's people who actually are from there and live there. Well, that's empowering to hear that. So when I hear somebody say, are you afraid to go to New York? You know, there's Ebola in New York. Well, baby, there's everything in New York. But that doesn't mean I'm going to get it or I'm going to connect with it. And, after a while, you just live in your house, can't go anywhere. I remember one time I was watching the news this years ago, and somebody's house in Florida just fell in a sinkhole. It's like the house was here, and with no warning, it just goes, it just falls in. And I thought, wait, there's no way you could prepare for that. You could have attack dogs and storm windows and a alarm system, and you could have state of the art pipes and wiring or whatever. Your house falls in the ground. You might as well go out for dinner. It's how are you gonna, how do you prepare for that? So that's just a word maybe to use. Like, don't just think of those things that are true and honest and just. And I'm not saying be an ostrich with your head in the sand. I don't think that's realistic. I think you should know what's going on. I do want to know what's going on. I do want to be politically engaged. I just don't want to feed on it constantly. I will hear it, but I'm not going to just do it nonstop. All right. They exercised more regularly. They had more energy, enthusiasm, and determination and focus. They made greater progress toward achieving important personal goals. This is just from gratitude. This isn't anything special or unusual about them, just keeping a gratitude journal. They slept better and awoke feeling refreshed. They felt stronger during trying times. They enjoyed closer family ties. And isn't that the truth? Don't you want to be around the family members that got something good to say? Because that one that has your number that you're like, oh, low, and that number is like, oh, this ain't going to be good. I will say this, however, and this goes back to them that have more will be given. I went to this funeral yesterday, and there was a family member of mine there that I don't know what this person's issue was, but it was not mutual. They got some issue with me. They got some thing going on, and they, unfriended me, blocked me, whatever. I'm like, I don't know what your drama is, but I ain't thinking about you at all. But whatever you're mad at me about, hope you can work it out. Well, I saw him yesterday, and I was glad to see him and hugged him. And I just was legitimately glad to see him. I was like, I don't have time to even do passive aggressive anymore. Like when I see my enemies, I'm like, you know what? I've ended up so good. It would be bad taste for me to even give you the cold shoulder. So I'm just gonna say hey or whatever. And my family member left me this beautiful message. Actually said, my heart did burn within me to see you. And he met Ken, because I told Ken a lot about him. I said, he really does exist. There he is. And he said, I just was so glad to see you. I just want to tell you I love you so much. And I thought, well, good. Then there's nothing for us to, I don't need to call you and say, what crawled up? I mean, what was your dealio? Because it doesn't matter. He had something he had to work out with me. And it's like, I told Ernie Avery in Chicago this weekend doing grandbaby stuff. They're probably streaming. Hey, y'all. But I meet with Avery during the week. We have our little sort of staff meeting and get all the business stuff caught up. And I was telling her something about this week, and I said, this is my goal. I want to get to where any name you mention to me, it doesn't even make the needle move. Do you know what I mean? It's like, because you know how that is when you hear somebody's name and you're like, oh, warning, Will Robinson, danger. But I just want to be so at peace with everybody that no matter who you mention, and I've had lots of people do me bad, but I've learned that it's like, you know what goes around comes around, and you'll get yours. And even if you don't get yours, I don't care, because I got mine. And the happier you become, the less you need to prove some point to somebody else. But ultimately it makes you healthier. Now, with family members, there's some people you can't cut yourself off from, but what you can do is sort of navigate the way the conversation goes. If you know this is the way they think, then change the dynamic of it. Learn something from Jesus. Jesus constantly changed his, somebody would throw something at him and he would just come at them with something entirely different. Just try it. They were more likely to help others and offer emotional support. They experienced fewer symptoms of stress. And he ends up by saying, if you want more happiness, joy, and energy, gratitude is clearly a crucial quality to cultivate. It is a fullness of heart that moves us from limitation and fear to expansion and love. When we're appreciating something, our ego moves out of the way and we connect with our soul. Gratitude brings our attention into the present, which is the only place where miracles can unfold. The deeper our appreciation, the more we see with the eyes of the soul, and the more our life flows in harmony with the creative power of the universe. I mean, that's some good stuff. And this has been scientifically proven. Like, these are people whose health became markedly better just from the fact that they were grateful. Now, you tell me something's going to make me healthier, you got my attention. You tell me something's going to make me whole, then I really want to know, like, all right, this isn't just about being grateful because it's the right thing to do. This is grateful because this is gratitude with an intention. This gratitude is going to help me become a better person. What I tried to take away from even this funeral yesterday, because I believe grieving is appropriate. I don't think grieving is a negative thing. Jesus knew he was going to raise Lazarus from the dead and still wept when he saw the tomb. Those things are not mixed up in my head. Dacia's daughter gave a very heartfelt homage to her mother, and you could tell they were really, really close. And when she broke down and said, "I miss my mommy," everybody could feel that, and it was appropriate. It wasn't maudlin. It was like, honestly, I could relate to it more than somebody standing up saying, "She's dancing on streets of gold today." That doesn't make me feel better. That feels creepy to me. Like, that's inappropriate. I don't like when somebody says, "We're not going to cry for her." Well, yeah, it's appropriate to cry. That doesn't mean, you're going to be depressed for the rest of the year. It just means, like, wow, I'm sorry that happened with her. Now, what it does, this is what I try to take away from it. Make every day count, because even if you live out your 120 years, it's still going fast. I mean, I have determined not to say, "I can't believe it's the holidays again," because it doesn't slow it down. And it's here again. So when I walk in the mall and they've already got it decorated, I'm like, "Oh, wow, they did a great job with this. It's beautiful." Because all it does is make you miserable and sound like Ebenezer Scrooge with, "They're decorating them too early." Oh, shut up. That's what they do. And it's Christmas, and enjoy it. And if some people, he's already listening to his Rod Stewart, because Rod Stewart does have a great Christmas album. Well, you know what? It's great music. Let's listen to it. I'm good with it. Because it's going fast one way or the other. You might as well get on board and enjoy the ride. Because if not, you're going to be sitting on the sidelines going, I can't believe another year. I can't believe another. Oh, there would. I can't believe you're missing the ride. At some point, those girls that used to do the double dutch, they were like trying to jump in. You just got to jump in and get like, well, here we go again. Wow, I wasn't expecting already, but I'm going to enjoy this one. And I think, wow, fall went really, really fast, but at least we milked it. I mean, we went everywhere I could think of where a leaf was turning, and took pictures or whatever, because I love it. And I didn't want October to go by me and go, I didn't see one leaf turn. I want to see all of it. I mean, I went even before they were turning, like, that one's looking a little brownish. Till the very last one. I mean, I'll be watching when the last one in a few weeks falls off the tree. Like, okay, and we're done. Okay, now it's officially winter. But I just want to enjoy every bit of it. And that's all a part of what makes you healthy. And when you do see that someone's life ended early, it doesn't mean it's going to happen to you. It doesn't mean you have to be insensitive to it. It means that you need to say, I don't need to waste one day on something that's silly and doesn't mean anything. It was interesting because I've been to this church for several funerals in the last several years. And I was remembering, when I go there, I remember things that were said at previous funerals. And I was remembering somebody who's gone on having a problem with somebody else who's gone on. And I remember it going on at that funeral. And I thought, they're all gone, and their drama doesn't even matter now. And I don't want to be known for the drama. Do you know what I mean? What I hope is whenever I do go, I want everybody to say, my God, he made the world a better place. I am such a better person for having known him. What I don't want is, dear Lord, he had a lot of drama. Every time you heard from him, it was some issue. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be like happy, healthy, skinny, finding two $20 bills in the elevator, low tank of gas, happy that my trainer thinks I'm 13 years younger than I am guy. That's who I want to be. I don't know about you, but we're all getting happier and healthier because we're grateful. Amen? Let's all stand. Thank you, baby. Tell the person next to you just something you're grateful for today. If it's nothing more than I'm grateful that you sat by me today. Look around here. Nobody in here is breathing on an oxygen tank this morning. That's good. Nobody's hooked up to an IV today. Nobody's in prison, at least not here. You might be running from the cops, but they hadn't found you yet. Everybody had something to put on this morning because you didn't come to church without clothes. So you got something in your closet. We're just grateful. Somebody speak out. What are you grateful for today? Express your gratitude. Just tell me. Grateful that you woke up this morning. Grateful for my vibrating bones. Man, that's such a good word. Grateful for the people in your life. Absolutely. Wait, what? What'd you say, Miss Lillian? Are you going to be 35? 83. No, you did not. Miss Lillian's going to be 83 this week. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Miss Lillian. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, that's good. Now that's the way to do 83. Back when we had all the music cranking and everything, the louder and wilder it got, like Miss Lillian's just like going with it. What else? What were you saying, Eddie, that you're grateful for?
I'm grateful that I got out of the shower this morning. Yes. And I'm grateful that I got dressed and I tried on. This is 1960s retro jacket. And the reason I kept trying on jackets, I just kept looking better and better. And I finally came to what I wanted to wear. Not only am I grateful for that, but I come in and I see this jacket. I'm like, oh no, she is.
You mean Miss Dubai, the reigning queen? Absolutely. Don't you see how that's how connected we all are? That's what you got to understand. When you're talking about yourself, you're talking about like I'm doing well, you're doing well. We're all. That's what I was talking about last week. Like when I hear somebody stop smoking, I'm not smoking, but it affects me. It's like, oh wow, you're moving toward a healthier existence. That's cool. That's in some way that strengthens me. I find a way to relate to that. It's like, wow, that's going to make it easier for me to make good decisions in what I eat this week or whatever and that's why we do need a community. That's why you need that, exhortation with one another. That's good stuff. What else are you grateful for? I'm grateful for you, Miss Leona. Love you guys. All right. Let's we didn't play this last week because it was the anointing was too we were all Pentecostal last week. Go ahead and run this and then I'll speak a blessing over you.
Contributing at Metron is quick and easy. Simply text the amount you'd like to contribute to 404-620-5044. Once you've sent the amount you'd like to give, you will receive a link. Clicking the link will take you to a one-time registration form. This will make the contribution process even easier in the future. Once you've filled out the information form, you will then see a successful registration and donation page. You can now give anytime by simply texting an amount to this number. To set up recurring contributions, log on to missionthenow.com and click Simple Give. We have more information on how to do this available for you in the back of the room. Thank you for your investment in Metron.
Thank you, Miss Avery. I miss you guys today. Just reminded me because Ernie and Avery took us to see this week. It may not be your cup of tea if you're not a sci-fi fan, but the movie Interstellar is actually really kind of cool. Are you going to see? Have you seen it yet? I'm not going to give you a spoiler, Michelle. I'm just saying, just to say it's a good movie is not a spoiler. I'm going to follow you in there and go, let me tell you what happens now. Let me tell you what happens now. Let me tell you what happens now. All right, I won't say any more about it. I'm just saying there might be some cool stuff. You know what? This is not about the movie. Relax. I love stuff like this, but I already mentioned about Rachel saying to me that she got it, that new neural paths open up in our brains. That's very interesting. Of all the things that she's heard me say, that's what you retained, and I was so proud of you. And then this week, my parents, I told Mom and Dad when I started this, I said, look, don't feel obligated to come every Sunday. And they took me seriously. However, a few weeks ago, my mom said to me, she says, I don't understand quantum physics. And I know in my mom, that was her way of saying, stop talking about stuff people don't understand. So I said, well, you'll get it. Well, we went over there last week and she said, let me tell you this thing I saw online about quantum physics. And I was like, what? My mom gets her laptop out and puts her glasses on and is reading this thing about, I've read it before, but it's like organs are made of tissue. Tissues are made of what? Cells. Cells are made of molecules. Molecules are made of atoms. Atoms are made of and it gets down to the lowest thing, which is energy. And I'm sitting here looking at my mom read this to me, and I could tell she was jazzed about it. And she said, "So tell me, what is energy?" I said, "Well, it's light, it's vibration, it's the word of God. All things are held together by that energy, whatever." And it's cool to me, whether people actually come here physically or not, which, I want you all to come physically. That's why I tweeted today, there are so many people here today. I hope we don't have to call the fire marshal. I'm feeling claustrophobic. But little by little, I can see people are connecting the dots. And I just know that I did the right thing in coming here and bringing you here with me and getting us in this environment. And it's just, and you know what? You already know that. So that was cool. But I'm saying that to say, and this is not a spoiler, Michelle, some of your understanding of quantum physics will help you appreciate the movie a little bit more. That's all I'm saying. But Rosebud was a sled. And the guy was actually dead at the end of Sixth Sense. No, the old movie. And Dorothy was just having a dream. It was earlier. Okay, good. You're well. You're healthy. You are being made whole. You are grateful because you know to be grateful, but also because you have much for which to be grateful. You are daily loaded with benefits. You are a blessed people. You have favor. What you set your hand to prospers. You're blessed when you come in. You're blessed when you go out. To them that have, more will be given. I bless your dreams. I bless your imagination. I bless the words of your mouth. Spirit puts a watch over your mouth and keeps you from snaring yourself. And what comes out of your belly flows rivers of living water. You're a blessing wherever you go. Every room you walk into, you improve the environment just by being there. You're the salt of the earth. You're the light of the world. You're a city set on a hill that cannot be hidden. Your bones are well. Your organs are well. Your mind is healthy. Your lungs are strong. Your muscles are revitalized. Your youth is being renewed like the eagles. You're not getting older. You're getting better. Age is just a number. You're releasing the better part of you. The better version of you is emerging. You've come through the fire, and just like the 3 Hebrew children, all the fire has done is burn the ropes off of you. It didn't destroy you. It set you free. You're free. You're free in your thinking. You're free in your emotions. You're free to express yourself. You're free to love. You're free to be grateful. You're going to have a wonderful week. You're going to have a productive week. You're going to get a lot done. You're just naturally prone to success. You're entrepreneurs. You're good business people. You make good decisions. You make wise investments. You have understanding of the market. You have understanding of how business works. You have understanding of how your body works. I just release a word of knowledge to you that whatever has been the missing element, that you just find that peace even this week, and it makes all the difference in the world. And I give you permission to enjoy your life and to be affectionate with one another. And if you need love, get some love, and be complimentary and exalt people and exhort them and have some fun and laugh and enjoy yourself, enjoy your week, even in your discipline. Don't let it become a religion to you, and let it just be easy. His burden is easy, his yoke is light. You can live a disciplined life because you're visionaries. The people do not perish because they have a vision, a progressive revelation, so they do not cast off restraint. When I see you this time next week, you will have already gone to another glory. Revelation is coming to you. I send you forth with strength and power You're beautiful. You're smart. You're attractive. You're lovable. You're awesome, just like you are. And you wake up tomorrow saying, this is the day that the Lord and I are making together. God bless you. Go in peace. Rejoice and be glad in it.
Love you, Bishop. You have a great week.
Hey, bud.
And thank you so much, man, for helping me to live my